Welcome back to Sims Complete. I'm your host, Matt Sims, alongside Phil Sims. And we're getting closer and closer to the playoffs and figuring out what this playoff picture is going to look like. We're going to go through. We got a few questions here that Lindsay, our producer, poses to us. And we're going to see Big Phil's thoughts on some NFC, AFC teams, which QB is set up to have a great comeback or at least a great moment here in the playoffs and get hot. And we'll get his thoughts, too, on the Giants as well. So let's start it off, big guy. Who is your favorite team in the NFC currently right now?
My favorite, my favorite, which way we saying it, just a team that I secretly like more than the other teams, or a team that's going to maybe jump out there and surprise people to win some playoff games and show people up. So
big guy, you got to put all the money you got in the world on one football team. Who do you trust the most?
Well, I got $1, so I'll put that $1 on it. That's about it.
All right.
I don't know.
What's that dollar say?
I don't know if I trust anybody, but I'm going to go out of the box. It's just funny. But I'm going to go NFC first. And I thought this before the season began, and I think it now. And why? Because they have a ton of really good players. A ton. And I like their coaching staff too. Maybe not all the way through, but good enough for whatever. And that team is the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, when you talk about football, big teams, power teams, they seem to always do well when the playoffs start because it's just that's what wins games. It's about power. And you look at the Eagles, forget the quarterback and all this talks that goes around him. How's their offensive line? Big, powerful, good, right? Oh, Saquon Barkley behind it. Oh, top flight wide receivers and all that. So, and we over-evaluate and everything they do too much when we talk about them because it's always about the quarterback. They need to score more on offense. But not only that, then look at the defense, Matt, real quick. Size, speed, production. I think they're going to get better. They can be really good. Corners that can get it done. They have a good nickel back. And your boy from Iowa, who is just a fantastic player. And just big up front, fast behind it, covered guys. So I don't know. That's the Eagles. I think they're going to be really tough to beat in any situation if it's at their house or on the road, whatever it is. I think they're going to be – they just got too many assets that are real for them not to be somebody you got to look out for.
Yeah, and I guess the lack of offensive chemistry doesn't concern you just because you just know that they have a ton of stars offensively and the defense can kind of hold it no matter what the game presents.
Yeah, we talk about all this and you talk about teams and we talk about maybe the side that's going to win the game. Well, the Eagles can win the game on either side.
Right.
Their offense can have a horrendous day and they can still win a game against a playoff team, I think, somewhat fairly easy. I just think they got that much talent. And, too, I do believe in this too. They won the Super Bowl last year. There is a little certain fatigue that comes from that. And I know I'm not going to say they just slept walk during the season, but emotionally they couldn't have been into every single game like you want your football team to be. So when the playoffs start, I think we'll see who they really are. And I think the one thing that really jumps out to me always is that defensive front, how dominant they can be.
So according to FanDuel Sportsbook, the Eagles are plus 950 to win the Super Bowl. The Seahawks and the Rams, just as a note, right, they're plus 550 to win the Super Bowl. So Big Guy putting a lot of emphasis on the fact of just the reigning champions being able to understand how to win these tough games, the talent that they have on both sides of the ball, especially Jalen Carter being back and healthy. Alongside Jordan Davis, Jalen Hunt's playing extremely well, and Vic Fangio, he's that dude, for this team right now. So he's doing an awesome job. Yeah,
he really is. I mean, Quinyon Mitchell, of course, and then
playing great.
Cooper DeJean, which I'm not going to go in the story, but when I did a game at Iowa, it was just really interesting to listen to the coaches talk about him.
Yeah,
and it wasn't all glowing either.
This is Phil Parker speaking about him, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, you're right. So all these guys. And he just goes, he dropped a pass in the Super Bowl. I'm like, well, hell, he intercepted one. He dropped a pass. He was
That
I
that's
go, damn, I said, I never want you as a teacher. It'd be hard to get an A with you.
yeah, no
And
doubt. No doubt.
yeah, you're right. Phil Parr, he was quite a character. And I can see why Iowa always has tough defenses and they're smart and all that because he
Yeah.
has them all. Okay. So, yeah. And then, to the Eagles, Vic Fangio, I have, it's been proven many, many times. I know that, and nobody really says anything negative about him ever, and they shouldn't. But on the offensive side, there's always a little. But the Eagles have a team, especially on the defensive side and overall, where they don't have to push the envelope on the offensive side.
Right.
So that's just another reason. And maybe for once, I might pick a team that's right, that's going to go to the Super Bowl, man, because I've been on a cold streak picking these teams.
Well, the one weakness I would say for the Eagles is that if they fall behind, they are one of the few teams that really just, they have not shown the ability to just drop back and cut it up and to make big time plays and to get back into football games in that way. So they are a team that needs to win in either from the lead or just one of those old school slug it outs where the score is relatively even and they can just manage it in their way to win those games. Big guy, your favorite team, right? Out of the AFC now, right?
Oh.
So the Eagles are your NFC team. Who is your AFC team?
Well,
yeah, this is tough.
It kind of hit me quick. It's pretty much the same as I talked about Philadelphia in a way. They're not as good as Philadelphia on the sheet of paper or maybe even on the field. But if I was in the AFC, I would be worried about playing this team, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, hell,
Really?
They're not even in the playoffs. They got to win to get in.
Right.
And I just think they're scary. Another team that just it was all over the place, Lamar, this, that. And I don't care who plays quarterback. I feel almost the same way about either one of them. Of course, it will help if Lamar's healthy and we can see the guy that we really think he is and we've seen for many years. But damn, the coaching is very good. Todd Monken, I love what he does on the offensive side. And I think what really got me going is that Derrick Henry got to run the football, and I don't think we'll see them get away from him. And that makes it easy on the quarterback, the offensive line. There's nothing like throwing the first punch, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. And, so it's pretty much that simple. I'm putting it all on really the offense, and the defense is smart, doesn't make many mistakes when you really watch them, and they can make you drive the field, which is hard to do, but it's because they have enough talent on defense too to win some of these playoff games. But most of this comes from the fact that I really believe that much, Matt, in their offense.
Okay, so this is a team that right now has to play to get in.
Yeah,
they're playing the Steelers, but you still believe though, right, that just if they get in, this is one of the few teams in the AFC that you're concerned about, and it's more so because of just Derrick Henry and the way that he's playing right now and how Tom Monken's calling it.
That wasn't a mistake in Green Bay. You
Right.
know what I mean? I saw something there, and I just went, "Wow!" So I just can't imagine that's going to fall to the wayside as we get to this part of the season now.
Okay.
And can they? Yeah, I think if they do get in the playoffs, I would be very concerned if I was the opponent that we're seeing a different team than we saw during the regular season.
And is the experience a big aspect of why you trust this team maybe more than a team like the New England Patriots, like a Jacksonville Jaguars, teams that have better records that are playing, quote unquote, maybe better football at the moment right now? Is it just the fact that like you know that they've kind of been there, done that, and they're a tougher football team mentally? Is that why you give them the edge?
Yes, for all of it. The offensive coordinator, I give a lot of credit, Matt, to the head coach. Right. He just kind of weathered the storm. He didn't get emotional about it. I mean, they're losing games you never thought they would lose. Then all of a sudden they got to win out. They go, well, all right, let's go get it done. And,
right.
It's I think John Harbaugh has just got a great way with how he treats his players and teams and doesn't get involved in maybe little battles. He's looking at the big picture and he's done a great job down the road here or down the stretch. And I can't wait to see this game with Pittsburgh. I can't. I could be wrong,
right.
Which is easy to do when you're picking these games or teams. But I just like the Baltimore Ravens and the ability they have to beat you running, but also if Lamar Jackson and Huntley too, that the quarterback can run, buy time, make plays, and beat you too running the football, which we have seen. So.
Yeah, when they lost to the Cincinnati Bengals, what was it, 5 weeks back now, 32-14. I left them for dead.
Me too.
You didn't. I feel like you didn't though. You were kind of saying like, I don't know, and even Bob Pop was mentioning it too. They followed that game up with a loss to Pittsburgh 27-22, and then they come back and beat the Cincinnati Bengals 24-0 at their place. A close loss to the New England Patriots 28-24, and then like you mentioned too, that game against Green Bay where. I mean, yeah, like that was really impressive. I don't think anyone expected the fact that the Ravens were going to score 41 against Green Bay, and for them to be as effective as they were. According to FanDuel Sportsbook, and our show is brought to you by FanDuel on the Believe Sports Network, the Ravens are plus 2,000 to win the Super Bowl, and plus 950 to win the AFC. So, yeah, you get some good bang for your buck there if you're going to be taking the Ravens and feeling the same way that Big Guy feels about this team going forward.
Well, go ahead. Big offensive line,
right?
Big, tough, strong, all that, and of course, they still have Andrews and Zay Flowers. I mean, I know these are not the top of the order from their positions, but it's still good enough. I mean, how tricky can you be on defense when you have Derrick Henry running it up in there like they do, or they did? And Matt, I don't know. What do you think real quick? Did they know this and hold Derrick Henry back during the year a lot of times and all that, knowing they need him for the big games and the playoff run and all that? That's what I kind of felt many times during the season. And then when we saw it in Green Bay, I went, hell, they went into the meeting room and said, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to run it right at them every play. It was really –
yeah,
pro football, to see it the way it happened was, even for me, I was like, damn, can Green Bay just once stop them a little bit?
Yeah.
And the answer was no. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that they saved him, for this right time, but it's been a little too sporadic this year for me to really believe that this was like all part of the grand scheme, and it's also a little bit too close. To actually not even making the cut for me to think that it was like part of this grand scheme, but
no, yeah, I'm trying hard to validate what I'm talking about. So that's
I hear you. And people don't understand too, just how easy it is sometimes for coaches, play callers, players to kind of lose sight of whatever it was the game plan was as you're in there in the live action, all that kind of stuff. And of course, when you're watching the film, you're like, damn, we should have done this and this. And but just the emotions of the game really do take over sometimes. Big Guy, your team, I guess your number one team to maybe make a surprise this year, the surprise team to make a run, I should say, in the Super Bowl. Who would be Phil Sims's dark horse in the AFC or the NFC? Like, who's the team that you really believe is like, wow, this is the one team that I would say could be the 07 Giants all over again?
Well, hell, I just gave you two of them.
Well, no, I mean, listen, that wasn't.
No, it's okay.
We were talking about surprise teams. I asked you what your favorite teams were for the AFC and NFC, and you gave me a team that's not even in the playoffs yet. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I know. So I'd say, hey, listen, you got, I'm not doing it to be anything, but I just believe it. Okay. Yeah. I think my one team that really has come out of nowhere, and they're just lighting everybody up. In other words, on TV, you got to give them props galore because they earned it. And that's the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, come on. All the players they've lost, the injuries, their starting quarterback was out. I don't know how many weeks Brock Purdy was out. But then comes in Mac Jones. Holy Christ. I mean, he played the best I saw him play in his whole career. And what he did, he might have earned a starting job somewhere in the NFL, if not a place where he gets to compete for maybe the job too. Right. I really thought he played fantastic. And I said, I don't know if Brock Purdy could have played as well as this. Well, that was a dumb thought too. Because it was. Because Brock Purdy's been terrific. But what gets me about all of it, the talent and the talented guys on the team come through, it seems like every single week.
Right.
But and I think maybe you and I talked about this yesterday, just offhandedly, I just go, they don't get receivers open. They get them wide open.
Right.
And Brock Purdy's movement, multiplies it because of his movement. And
Mhm.
I don't know. I've been watching their games, and I have to say this too. Brock Purdy every single year is getting a little bit of another level up when it comes to throwing the ball.
Right.
He has a little more power. His accuracy is big time. It's really good. And he's playing like really free. Like he knows he's damn good. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? He's looking in
Agree.
the mirror going, yep, I'm pretty good. Here we go. I mean, it shows on the field too. And just the design of the plays and what they do to you. Man, the 49ers, this would be an all-timer if they find a way to get through all this and get to the Super Bowl and win it. So
yeah, it's strange because other years I felt like they were the Super Bowl favorite or someone that you would expect to at least be a participant or an NFC champion. This year we weren't really expecting that, as of course with all the injuries and stuff like that they suffered. But as we get closer and closer to the playoffs, I feel like I believe in this team as much as any team in the NFL at the moment. And it really does just start with Brock Purdy and how he's playing. And I feel like he's playing with a just man, there's just something about just his energy. I think Brock Purdy and Trevor Lawrence are playing the best quarterback of any QBs right now in the NFL.
Wow.
And I feel like with just their confidence, that confidence, of course, just bleeds into the rest of the football team. And we've seen also, things that kind of get overlooked with both of these quarterbacks is just their ability to make plays in the low red zone. And that's where like Brock, super impressive. Those are the game-changing plays against Chicago. Him scrambling and running for the touchdown or making plays and making people miss and throwing touchdowns there. And then Trevor Lawrence as well in Indianapolis. His ability to be a threat with his feet in that low red zone, I think, is another aspect of the Liam Cohen offense that they've really tapped into a little bit more. But yeah, totally agree with you with Brock Purdy, with the San Francisco 49ers and Kyle Shanahan, with all the plays that they have. And oh yeah, Christian McCaffrey having another all-pro like season with everything that he does for this offense. And
Matt, there's one other thing and that's the defense of the 49ers. And it's going to bend. It's going to bend. But Robert Saleh, we got to give him credit, man. He's
right.
Hey, even in that game that we saw with Chicago, and you think, well, Chicago's going to drive it down the field. Well, no, they changed up enough. They blitzed. They did some different. They got a little more aggressive. And then the play that comes, we're going to win the game or lose it. Robert Saleh caused the defense that Chicago couldn't handle. And
right.
So, yeah, his energy and his personality. So that comes out too. The defensive players must love him. I can imagine what he's like in the meeting room. He's just going off on it, and they're all knowing, hey, this is great. We're going to have a chance here to really have a big impact on the game. So it's both sides of the ball, but mainly the offense.
Yeah, and I guess the one concern for 49ers fans, right, is just like all the injuries that you suffered in the secondary. Will that make a huge impact for you as you continue to play some teams that really can throw it down the field aggressively? And I think that's why the Bears were able to be so successful with some of their pass counts that they had, because just, they had some injuries, some key places, and, it's hard for the communication aspect of, especially with like a Saleh-like defense, when you got new faces and new bodies in there that just haven't had those reps yet. So we'll see how they counter some of those things that they've had this season. Big guy, next question for you. What team, in your opinion, has really been trending down going into the playoffs that you are very concerned with, and maybe didn't feel that way just a few weeks ago?
Oh, well, that's the Rams.
Yeah.
Los Angeles Rams. Dang.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah, we can agree on that one. There's no doubt.
I mean, yeah. Let's see. They played Atlanta. They got no sacks. They gave up 219 yards rushing. Stafford threw 3 interceptions. The week before, they gave up 415 yards. Got sacked 4 times, 171 yards rushing against them. Detroit, almost 400 yards, sacked the quarterback. Oh, Jared Goff, just a routine 338, 3 touchdowns. And that's, it's like, it's almost getting like this as a quarterback. Oh, the Rams. Oh, good, man. I can throw up some good stats today.
That's right. Come on.
Yeah. Did we even think this way 4 or 5 weeks ago?
Right.
And, this is me. I like what they do on the offensive side. I think it's as good as I've ever seen Sean McVay coach a team and design and call plays, whatever. So they give the quarterback plenty of opportunities to make plays. And Devontae Adams, will they get him back? I didn't look at injury reports. What is the status there? Do you know?
I don't know at the current moment, but
Yeah,
just with a hamstring, it's just, a day-to-day process. Yeah.
yeah. But just I know they threw 3 interceptions against the Atlanta Falcons. Stafford
Right.
did, but
Right.
I didn't look at him and go, "Wow, he could turn that around right away and throw 5 touchdowns and no picks."
Yeah.
That's not
Agree.
what worries me. The one thing that gets to me a little bit, not gets to me, but I just go, the defense got to be a little more aggressive.
Agree.
Zone defense, every play, they play great zone. Okay, great. And good quarterbacks pick you to death.
Yeah.
And it's just zone defense is you almost expect to make a lot of completions at a high percentage as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Where if you're aggressive, pressure the quarterback more, the decisions come quicker. You can be more aggressive as a defensive back because my guys are getting to the quarterback. So, man, it's really hard to believe this happened to the Rams the way they were playing. But if there's a lot of these teams have these situations, they can dig themselves their way out. And the Rams would be one of those teams that if they found a way to get through this and be a big factor in the playoffs, of course I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I mean, we both believe in their offense, their quarterback, of course, and just what they can do as far as just attacking opposing defenses. I think the big concern, like you mentioned, is just, Coach Shula and that defense. It's just way too cookie cutter, vanilla, and against better quarterbacks and a better well-coached offenses in the playoffs. I just don't know how successful they're going to be, with that type of style. And I think their talent is better than what their scheme or their philosophy is on defense or the numbers that they're giving up. Wow, and I think that's a concern too. Like, there's some good guys in the secondary. There's some good guys in the front seven. And for whatever reason, it just seems to be like this very vanilla style week after week, even against teams that they're like actually better than. And I would say that like about the Falcons, like that's a great team. We're like, why are you letting Kirk Cousins just drop back and make these clean decisions against 4-man rushes? Like, rush him, like get after him, force him to make the plays to beat you. And it's just kind of curious to see just how they've really kind of lost a lot of their momentum, especially on that side of the football as the season has progressed.
When you lose games like that, you got to find a way to get back on in line and do it the right way. And that's hard because emotionally and psychologically, it's hard to overcome. You got that in the back of your mind, man. We have blown some games here, and we're not playing the way we should. And when you talk about zone defenses, come on, too. The other thing, when you're playing a good quarterback, he's going to drop back. He sees it zone. He knows he's going to throw it to the curl to the right, let's say. So he's going to drop back and kind of look down the middle to the left, and then he's going to just turn and throw it to the guy. Because the defense playing zone does what? They follow the quarterback's eyes.
Right.
And it makes them move, and it's easy to move them in zone defense, I think. I mean, it was when I played and you played, and I just can't imagine it's changed that much over the years. Players, hey, they're looking at the quarterback, and they want to be the guy to make the play. So, he's looking over there, let's go. And then you throw it where you left. So that's interesting too, but very surprised. I would say this in that really bad game that the Rams had against the Atlanta Falcons. It's still with the 3 interceptions, I look at it and go, damn, Matt Stafford really can make a lot of great throws.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. But the concern too is just the fact that the Atlanta Falcons were cutting you up and dominating that game. And also, Stafford absolutely can do that. But one of those touchdowns was Jared Verse blocking the field goal and picking it up himself and running for a touchdown. So
that's true.
The score is misleading. And I think for the Rams too, hopefully they don't have to play anybody in the NFC South to start the playoffs because, man, the Falcons got them, the Panthers got them in a pretty similar fashion too to the Atlanta game. They did beat Tampa Bay, but hey, we'll see what happens for this Rams team. It's amazing how hot we both were on them. I think everybody was on them just a few weeks ago and how quickly that's changed for them.
Man, the league is unbelievable. I don't know if we said this last week or not, but it is. The margin of error, or whatever you want to say, number 1 to 32. Well, maybe not. There's a couple teams in the league, no matter what, they're going to lose. Right. But the margin between all these teams, there's 20 teams. It's just not a big gap anymore. Right. And it's just going to get tighter and tighter. That's why we're seeing what we thought were great teams or good teams. They're not going to make the playoffs. And look at some of the teams that are making it. You just go, well, it's been a while, but they finally found a way to get this thing done. So
Yeah, right.
NFL,
And
man, it's tough to go out and dominate. That's for sure.
yeah, it is. And that's why I think about a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I know a lot of people have some question marks about them, of course, and Liam Cohen his first year, but just they are playing really, really good football. And it's hard to deny that. And they feel confident and they feel like they're playing. See, that's a defense too that hey, they'll bend, but every now and then they're just going to say F it and they're going to get after you, and it's like that's exactly what they did against Phillip Rivers in the Indianapolis Colts. It was a close game. And when it came down to it, they're like, you know what, we're just going to heat this guy up and see what he can do, so it's going to take, moments like that from some of these coaching staffs to really just trust their instincts, pull the trigger, and take a calculated risk to win some games. Big guy, before we – go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, when you get in like this last game scenario and all that, and then even the playoffs, it's big and very telling about coaches. And you just can't be afraid. You can't be – you got to go – you got to really play. And I know, they always play to win. No, you got to play to win in your decision-making big time.
Right.
And, I've learned that from a lot of good coaches when I was doing games. Some of these coaches would tell me things and I go, wow, okay, they're going to go out there and let it go.
Right.
And let's see what happens. And of course, I played for one that was the same way too. And I still believe in that. It takes courage in regular season games, Matt, to go for certain situations. But think about a playoff game, how much courage, and I think the courage is the word, for the head coach to make certain decisions.
Right.
I mean, I always look at it and go with Bill Parcells. Super Bowl, opening drive the second half, we're losing 10-9. It's 4th and 1. And he goes for it back in the era when nobody went for 4th downs.
Right.
And he put Jeff Rutledge in there, and we had one of these things called a Arapaho, a run, a pass, and a hit on the enemy. So we had like 6 plays to run out of one formation. And, of course, Jeff Rutledge called the right play. And, I'm sure – Bill Parcells' heart was beating pretty fast over there as we were trying to get that first down. Because if we didn't get it, it could have been the difference in winning and losing for sure. So
Right.
All right.
Well, yeah, now everyone's obsessed with going for it on 4th down. So
now it's brutal. Well, because they got this. Well, analytics told us, and that's who we are. We're aggressive. I know. Okay.
Right.
That's great.